Hello, welcome to this week's How's the Market, Pensacola? Well, greed leads to blatant discriminatory practices. Yeah, I know that's a pretty strong statement, but I'm a little pissed off this morning as I record this because I just got finished reading the Wall Street Journal today, and today is Monday as I'm recording this. It's Monday the 21st of June. There was an article on the front page talking about how most buyers putting 20% down right now. It's about the third time this has happened since we've been recording this. Usually buyers put less down, but they're having to put more down. That I get, I understand that, but the article went on to talk about VA loans and how they're being discouraged and how the majority of sellers and sellers' agents are discouraging VA loans because, and get this, because most people using a VA loan are of a different socioeconomic class. What? First of all, that's just false. I could have used a conventional loan all day long the last time I bought my home, but I used a VA loan. Why? Because I served. It's one of the benefits of me serving. So that's wrong. Second, why would you even consider that? What type of blatant misinformation is out there saying we're not going to consider VA? And they went on to say we're not going to consider FHA loans too. So our first-time home buyers are struggling. That was the premise of the article. But some of the facts they brought up, that over 50% of the realtors are saying don't even consider VA and FHA. Why? Well, they give us a conclusion because they said if someone's going VA or FHA and it has to come in over appraised value, that as a seller, we want to be able to force the other person to pay the difference. Well, we can't force somebody to pay the difference. I understand if you go across the country, there are people offering $50,000, $100,000 over list and offering appraisal waiver. But the fact that that's being touted in a newspaper outlet that I read pretty regularly, the Wall Street Journal, and I have a lot of respect for the journalists there, kind of pisses me off. That we're just telling people VA loans are tougher to get done. That was in the article. They're tougher to get done. That's not true at all. For those of you who don't know, that you're just now watching this to begin with, I owned a mortgage company for 10 years. VA loans are just like any other. There are just some steps that have to be done, but that all happens on the back end. The seller, not necessarily much. Now, if we know the property's not going to qualify for a VA loan, like all the windows are fogged, or there's a hole in the ceiling, or something like that, or we got termite damage, okay, now that makes sense, because VA does have a little bit higher standard there. But the regular house, and I looked at some of the houses that somebody was staying on, and I'm like, this would have qualified VA all day long. You're just discriminatory against VA because of a greed factor. You're discriminating against veterans like myself because of a greed factor. And quite frankly, that kind of pisses me off. That needs to stop. I don't know what misinformation is out there about VA loans being so much more difficult, but I'm going to try and find out and squash that, because they're not. And these veterans have earned the right to use a VA loan. In our area, we've got a high military concentration, both active and veterans. So I don't know why that's being put out there, but it needs to stop. It really does need to stop. I've got 3 loans right now. The veterans it's a VA loan, 100% approved, ready to go. We went an over list. The appraisal came in fine. There was nothing more than what a conventional loan would have done. As long as you know how to work a VA loan through, it's the same thing. Now, maybe agents are not wanting to take the time to learn how to do that. And there's really not much on the agent side of the house that needs to be done. You need to have a really good lender. I know about them because I own the mortgage company. But once we walk that through, it's not that big a deal. It's really not. So this discrimination against veterans obviously touches a nerve with me because I am a veteran. But it needs to stop. Greed can be put aside. Do not discriminate against a VA loan. If it's a better offer. If the veteran gets beat, great. No problem. And I've heard people say, look, I'll take a loan, but your property with a loan was only $5,000 over a cash property and they could close in 2 weeks. I understand that. But if it's drastically over, you just don't want to do it because it's a VA loan, I want you to check your intentions. Seriously. And I say that to my sellers because I've had a couple of sellers in the last 3 weeks, 4 weeks ask me if we should even consider it. And I went, absolutely yes. We walked through them. One of those 3 buyers that I was telling you about is a VA. I have the seller too. Seller couldn't be happier. Buyer couldn't be happier. Makes all kinds of sense. Don't discriminate. Don't discriminate. I'll put a link to the Wall Street Journal article underneath this so you guys can go read it if you want to. But that kind of ticks me off. I'm going to make sure I get out and reach out to some of my mortgage constituents around the country. I don't think constituents is the word. I think that's a political word. But, contacts probably is a better word. And find out if I can get some data, some hard data on default rates for VA versus any others over the past 5 years. Because, we can't really go back to 2009 because everybody was defaulting. Anyways, I'm going to get off my soapbox. Don't discriminate. Now, we do have inventory problems, and here's our 2 counties. Let's go. All right, if you've never seen the show, you don't know that I always start with this slide right here. It says if we have between 6 and 7 months worth of inventory, we have a neutral market. Greater than 7 is a buyer's market, less than 6 a seller's market. What the slide doesn't say, greater than 9 a hyper buyer's market, less than 3 a hyper seller's market. We start over here at Escambia County, and just like last week, everything up to about $550,000 is a hyper seller's. We have gone down in inventory total. It's 408. Last week was 430 something. So we've actually gone down in total inventory. And I suspect, unless we get some sellers starting to come onto the market, that's going to stay the same. We're going to start to see that downward trend, because I think I told you that a couple of weeks ago. Once we get past 4th of July weekend, cyclically, now I know we can't say anything since 2020, it's all changed, but go back from 2019 to 2010, okay? Cyclically, we always saw a downfall after 4th of July because people want to move in for school. So we do have less active. This one, 600,000 to 650,000, that was 2 point something months last week. That's dropped down to under 2 months. That truly is a pocket for a hyper sellers. And everything under $550,000 is a hyper sellers. Just like I said before, I get worried about these first-time home buyers. 100 to 150,000 is 1 month. 50 to 100,000 in Escambia County is 1.5 months. There's 38 active. Those are pretty rough, and some of that's land, believe it or not. Some of that's land. The 7 that are active under 50,000 are all land. I've seen some foreclosures pop up in this 50 to 100,000, and it looks like a lot of that there was 3 that popped up on my radar, and when I reviewed them very quickly, it looked like they were reverse mortgage foreclosures. So someone who got a reverse mortgage and has since passed away, the family can't afford to pay it off, or there is no heir. That was one of the reasons that reverse mortgages made sense when they first came out, if you don't have an heir. Now, if your heirs are all taken care of, right, they're all good, and this helps supplement your income as a senior, great. That product makes sense for the right people. So 3 of these were reverse mortgages, and I didn't dive into whether they had heirs or not. I just know that that's just a normal process that happens. So we're not seeing a huge increase in foreclosures, like some people are probably going to say, oh my God, we saw 3 foreclosures, it's up 100%. Shut up. That's a normal course of action. That 150 to 200,000, which is a huge first-time buyer, is only 0.6 months. That 200,000 to 250,000, 0.3 months. 250,000 to 300,000, 0.5 months. 300,000 to 350,000, 0.6 months. It's just ridiculously low. In Escambia County, now let's jump over to Santa Rosa County. Just like last week, we've got 2 price points over here that have pulled out of the hyper sellers, which was nice because if you went back to September of last year, everything was hyper sellers. Both counties. Every price point. So 600,000 to 650. Under our definition is just a seller's market because a hyper sellers is under 3 months. It's at 3 months. So I'm going to say that everything is a hyper sellers over in Santa Rosa County except 700,000 plus, except your luxury. We're down to 253 active. I want to say that's a slightly higher than last week, but I don't remember. It is still just anemic. And those same price points, 150,000 to 200,000 is half a month. Look at this, 200 to 250,000, 0.3. 250,000 to 300,000, 0.3. 300,000 to 350, 0.4. 350,000 to 400,000, 0.8. We do not have 1 month's inventory all the way up to 400,000 range in Santa Rosa County. That's how anemic the properties are. And one thing that I'm noticing too, this data looks good, but it's a snapshot for the week. And this is data that gets pulled on Sunday night. I have seen stuff come on the market on Thursday and be off the market by Saturday. So by the time I got this report, it's going to show pending. But that just shows our demand. So don't think that's going to be completely taken out of this report. It's just showing our demand is even higher. So that's one of the reasons we can say 0.8 months or 0.3 months, because even if something come on but went pending and wasn't even active last week, but is now showing up as an extra pending this week, that makes sense. So there's your numbers. There's a lot of things happening right now. I actually got 2 people calling me on the instant offer program. Both of them had some damage, and we're talking through them with what is best planned for them. Had another instant offer program actually get sold last week. Worked out really, really well for all parties involved. I know that seller was extremely happy because there was, to say, literally about the only thing on that house that was good is the insurance company replaced the roof. Besides that, there was nothing. I had the kitchen needed to be redone, the floors needed to be taken out, the ceiling, half of it had come down because of the leak in the roof. So it all needed to become basically all done. You had to suck up all the moist insulation up there, redo that. Air conditioning needed to be done. Bathrooms needed to be redone. The master bath was nothing but walls. So when I say the only thing on that house that was good was a roof and a shell. It was a great location. It was in Santa Rosa County. So it worked out great for all parties involved. That particular seller got to go move on to the next phase of their life. And the buyer was extremely happy as well. It was all under our instant offer program. If you want to be involved in that, if you're cash and you want to be involved in some of our instant offers, when those come across my desk, I have a small list that I email out going, hey, this is the offer. If anybody wants to take it, great. If not, I take it, right? So, but I also have a lot of projects working myself. So there's times that I will just reach out to my private list going, anybody want this? Here's the deal. Here's the breakdown. You got to do cash or a hard money loan, or, you got to close quick. Typically when we do these instant offers, we're closing within about 10 days. But there'll be a link below if you want to be on that list and get notified when one of these properties come up, because that never comes up. Well, I shouldn't say never. Hardly ever comes up on this report here because we don't ever keep it on the MLS. Instant offers has done well. Pre-certified homes doing extremely well. Extremely well. So if you're thinking about selling, talk to me about a pre-certified home, because that's going to set you even more apart than the rest. On top of that, it doesn't cost you anything extra. So the link for that is below as well. All right. That's our county. Sorry about the soapbox this morning. I was just, that VA thing, I guess because I'm a veteran, it's kind of close to heart. So there's that. Thanks for watching. Have a great week. I'm a man on a mission. My mission is to help people break through all the noise out there. And don't need no permission. I want to help you get to actual truth. Don't you just want the truth?